Been holding off on this calculator for a while, but this is a popular calculator mainly because it's one of the approved ones for the FE, the Fundamentals of Engineering, and the PE, Professional Engineering exam that a lot of people have to take. It is a really nice calculator. It gets the job done. It has a lot of really nice features, and it's very easy to use. One thing that I don't like about it is that it's very menu driven, and you almost have to be if you want to fit this many features in there. But for some operations, it just takes a long time to do stuff. So jump right into it. The calculator has buttons that will do multiple functions. For example, right here, if I want to enter natural log or the regular log, I hit it once for natural log, and then I can enter my number, hit enter, get the answer. If I want to do a log base 10, I just hit it again. If I want to do, let's do that. If I want to do log base 2, I can, which is a nice feature. Same with exponents, so the natural number e to a number, or 10 to a number. You can cycle between those. Sine, all of these trigonometric functions, you have sine, arcsine, and then you have hyperbolic sine, hyperbolic arcsine. And of course that's true for the cosine and tangent as well. Pi, so you have your pi, your e, and your I, so the imaginary number I, and also your constants or variables that you can use in your equations. So just cycle through all of those. Then you have your regular operations, and again, it makes it pretty straightforward to use this. So for example, if I wanted to do 15 and then take the inverse of that, I just did second and then did the inverse. If I wanted to multiply that by a fraction, I can press the fraction button and enter in my fraction. And then I can add a proper fraction as well by using the shift here, and it gives me the placeholders for a proper fraction. And then you can get your answer in fraction form, exact form, or decimal if you just switch it. X to a number, that's so 2 to the 5th power. Or if I want to take 125, let's do the third root here, so I'm going to do shift, the third root of 125. So you can do any number of roots using this symbol, or just the square root using shift and that symbol. So, I mean, all pretty straightforward, all nice, pretty print. You just use the directional pad here to put in where you want your numbers to be. It gives you the placeholders, makes it really simple. It might take a little bit longer. You can still do 4 divided by 5, or you can do 4, move down 5. Another nice feature that it has is being able to store variables. So I've got the number 12.135, whatever, that I calculated. I can go ahead and store that into a register. I can store that into, say, X. So now if I recall, I can see all my variables here. And I have A has the number 5 stored in it. X has my 12.1235. Then there's a whole bunch of menus that you can use. So let's just go through these. Oh, real quickly too, some other placeholder ones that you can do is the derivative of a number. So let's do x squared and evaluate that at x equals 2. That gives us the answer of 4. And similar with the integral. You set your limits, you set your expression that you want to integrate, and then you go. So for the menus, the matrix menu. So you have your menu here, and I have 3 matrices entered. The second row or second submenu within this is the math that you can do with those, and then you actually edit them in this third one. So this is actually one of the strengths of the calculator, I think, that entering in data you can do in a list or in a matrix form. So I've entered a matrix here. This is my matrix A. Go back to my matrix menu, look at matrix B. I can set the number of rows, number of columns. Here's my matrix B. So let's just go ahead and enter some numbers in there. All right, let's quit out of that, and we want to do some operations on those matrices. So let's take the determinant. So I pick determinant. Then I have to go back here and pick which matrix I want. Let's do the determinant on B. Close that off. And it calculates the determinant of B. If I wanted to do the transpose, I'd pick my matrix, and I'd go to my matrix math, do the transpose. That gives me the transpose of that matrix. And then you have the inverse. You can do the inverse of a matrix, reduce row echelon form. So yeah, there's your matrix operations. Again, it just requires going into this menu several times to pick your matrix that you want to do, to edit your matrix, and then to pick the operation that you want to do on your matrix. Similarly with the stat register, you actually enter it in the data menu here. So let's just enter in a set of numbers. And let's do our list too as well. All right, so we've entered our data. We go to our statistics. Let's do one variable, statistics. We're looking at L1. That's our first row of statistics that we entered. And let's calculate it. It tells us we have 7 numbers. The mean of them is 2.29. Standard deviation is 1.11. The population standard deviation, 1.03. The sum of all those numbers is 16. The sum of the square of those numbers is 44, etc. So it gives you here's your first quartile, your median, your second quartile, or your third quartile. So it gives you all those statistics. We'll go back to it, do 2 variable statistics. We got 1 and 2. And now we have the mean of y, sample standard deviation of y, and we should have, I was thinking we'd have the weighted mean as well. Maybe I just needed to pick a different operation for that. But anyway, so you have your statistics, and those are pretty easy to enter, pretty easy to find your answers. That's one of the really strong points. I really like how they did that. Math menu, so here's some various operations you can do. So convert to proper fraction, improper fraction, least common multiple, greatest common denominator, etc. So your various ones there. Here's some numeric operations. Find the fraction part, integer part. Degrees, minutes, seconds. You can convert those from the degrees, minutes, seconds to the decimal form, and then rectangular to polar conversions. So there's your math. Go to the vector menu now. So again, it's very similar to the matrix menu. We have our matrices here, which I've gone ahead or our vectors here. There's vector V. Now if I wanted to find, here's where an example of where you would have to do a lot of digging through menus. So I want to do the operation, I want to do the cross product on those 2 vectors. So I go to math, I pick cross product. And where's my first vector? Well, I go back to the vector menu and I select the first vector there, U, and I'm going to do comma, that's shift, comma. Go back to the vector menu, pick my second vector, and then close the parentheses and find the cross product. And keep in mind too that I would have had to enter those vectors based on the menu as well. I'll have to go into the menu twice to do each of those 2 vectors. But it does get the job done. It just means digging through those menus a lot. You have a your function tables. You can put your functions in there. Let me do the expression evaluation real quick. So if I do 45 times x squared minus x plus y. So I've got an expression like that, and I want to evaluate it. So it asks me at what number do I want to evaluate x. Let's say x is 2, y is 9. And what does that evaluate to? Well, 45 times x squared minus x plus y at x equals 2 and y equals 9 gives me 187. I can also do system solve. So solve for a system of linear equations using a 2x2 or 3x3 matrix. And it should just give you those numbers. So x, say you have x, y, and z. You'd enter your x coefficient there, your y coefficient, your z coefficient, and then it equals whatever on the right-hand side. Polysolve. So that gives you several polynomials, third order, second order, and you can solve for those. Numeric solve, you can put in any expression you want here, and it will solve it numerically. So that's handy for some operations at, so x equals 1 solves that equation. Complex number menu. So again, if I have a complex number, well, let's just enter in, how about 3 plus I4. And I'm in rectangular mode right now, so it shows that. I can go to the complex, and I want to find the magnitude of that. Let me just do answer. Oops. Should be able to do answer, magnitude of that. That gives me 5. Or go to complex, find the polar form. Now, okay, I need to do this first. Now let's convert it to the polar form. That gives me 5 at angle 53. And again, that you just have to dig through these. So 5, complex, angle 53, and convert that to rectangular form. We also have a list of constants, which is really nice. So you can go by units if you need to find the correct unit, or you can go by the name here. A whole bunch of constants. Convert, lots of conversions built in. So they are categorized by different types. So let's say we want to convert 35 Celsius to Fahrenheit. Oops. We go to temperature, and we do Celsius to Fahrenheit. Answer is 95. And lastly here we have base conversions. And again, this I find to be a bit of a pain, because if I want to go, say, 2E in hexadecimal and convert that to binary, I actually have to go to base, put in the type hex to tell it that this is hexadecimal, and then go into base, convert to binary, and there's my answer. It shows me the B at the end for binary. So you're going to have to dig through the menu several times to do that. All right, one last thing is set op and op. So I can, let's say I have a circle that I want to evaluate multiple times. I go to set op, and I know that the formula for the area of a circle is going to be pi r squared. So I'm going to take my r first, and that's the number that I'm going to be entering, and I'm going to square it, and I'm going to multiply it by pi. So there's my expression. I'm going to enter a number, select this operation, it'll square it and multiply by pi. So 5, and then hit op. And it tells me that 5 squared times pi is 25 pi, or 78.54. 6 op, 36 pi, or 113.10. Or let's say I wanted to do whatever my number is times 3. Enter, and let's do 1, and then op. And then let's multiply that, and that, and that, etc. So you could carry out a list of operations if you had a function that you wanted to evaluate multiple times. Yeah, that's the basic overview on the 36 Pro. It has a lot to offer. It is easy to use for the most part. It just can be a little time consuming to use sometimes if you dig through those menus. That's my main complaint with it, if you couldn't tell by this point. But other than that, I really like the history. I really like how you can scroll up, grab a number, bring it back down, apply another operation to it. It's a well-designed calculator.